Hey everybody, welcome to Fit Tip Tuesday. I hope everybody had a wonderful Father's Day weekend. I know that I did. I got to spend the entire Sunday with family for lunch, different family for dinner. It was like a double celebration. I had a really nice time. And actually, it's really nice to spend a day, like an entire day, not working. I don't know if I talk about, my work home life, but my work life is at home. And most days I'm working, like weekends, every day. So I really enjoyed just spending an entire day with family. It was very, very nice. And I did do a tiny amount of work on Sunday morning before I got going with things because I got a question from one of my subscribers about some advice to help fit her pants. So I asked her to send me some photos of what was going on. And the good news is, I think it's a simple fix for what her issues were. But what it really brought to mind was how important or how much easier it is if you're working with a separate waistband from your muslin. Now, I've been talking about this. I made a kit for this. Here in front of me, you can see I have one of the waistbands I made using the kit that you can purchase from me. And basically, it comes with enough fabric, Velcro, and band roll to make a contoured and straight waistband, or you can just buy the contoured or straight waistband. And the cool thing about this is having a separate fitting waistband. Once you make one, you can use it over and over and over again for fitting your pants. And if it fits your sewing friends, you can also let them borrow it, or you can fit pants with your friends. But it does make pants fitting so much easier. And I just want to run through the features of my separate fitting waistband. I've added Velcro to the bottom of the waistband because what the Velcro does is it acts as sticky pins when you're trying to manage the fabric around your waist. Because if we're going to fit the waistband on first, then we're going to drape the muslin off of that waistband, and it's giving us a lot of flexibility for adjusting the rise. And this is one of the biggest things that can cause problems with your pants fitting. If your rise, or I'm sorry, if the rise of the pattern is longer than you, it's really not as much of an issue because you can pleat up or pick up the extra fabric on the muslin to get everything to hang properly. But if the rise of the pattern happens to be too short for you, then that causes more issue, because if you're working with a traditional fitting muslin that has a waistband already attached to it, what ends up happening is you put your muslin on, you pin it shut, then you're trying to fit it onto you. And the thing about something that's too short, you really can't add more fabric in unless you do some pretty invasive slashing and inserting fabric in between the slashes to get the rise to be longer. So this is where it really helps to have this separate waistband. And it may be that the rise in the back is fine, but then let's say the rise in the front is too short. Okay, so it may fit fine in the back, but it may be pulling in the front, or vice versa. Working with the separate waistband and adding extra allowances on your muslin will allow you to adjust the front and back rise and get it to be, consistent and agreeing with your figure without a lot of trouble. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to just show you here. You can see the picture of the front view that she sent me, and I think you can see the diagonal wrinkles pulling from the waistline at the side seam down towards the crotch. Those stress wrinkles are indicating that the side seams are pulled up too high. And this is what can happen when you're working with a muslin with a waistband attached to it. You pin it on you and the waistband is sitting where you want, but then there's no way for you to really let that out or let that down if it's already sewn together. So let's take a look at my waistband again. And this is a really simple one. You can see I have 3-inch Velcro sewn onto the center front edges. And what that does is it allows me to fit my waistband onto me in variety of locations on my waist, midriff, tummy. So I can customize the rise of any pair of pant that I'm making by fitting this waistband on me where I want my waistband to fit for the pair of pants I'm working with. And the Velcro on the bottom here, this 1/2 inch, represents the seam allowance if you were to sew the waistband to the muslin. So this bottom 1/2 inch is the seam allowance for the waistband. And then in the back, I marked the center back with a red Sharpie marker right here. And then I put 2 vertical Velcro pieces on either side. I can use that to hold my center back in place for me while I'm adjusting other areas. I've also added Velcro to the muslin. And I think you can see here, I'm just going to show you right here, there's the Velcro goes on the inside of the muslin. I have it on the center back edge in the seam allowance. That will stick onto the Velcro here on the waistband. And I also put it in the middle of the back leg and the middle of the front leg, you can see, and also the center front. So I've got this is a single leg muslin. I've got it put on my ditto form here. My ditto form has little shorty legs. It's not anatomically correct through the crotch, but it'll allow me to show you some things that will help you work with a fitting waistband and a separate muslin. So the first thing is, like I said, you want to take your waistband and you want to put it on so that in the back it's lining up with the center back. So the Velcro here is lining up with the center back. And then as you wrap it around, you want to wrap it around to where it's comfortable. And then you want to fit it on so it's, firmly on you. You don't want it to be able to shift around or gape away from you. Now, if your waistband is gaping away, and I'm just going to show you what that would look like here. See how it's gaping away? I can pull it away. The cool thing is you can actually dart out the amount that it's gaping away at your center back and sew in little darts to get it to fit you properly. So if you started out with a straight waistband and it's not fitting snugly across the small of your back, sew some darts into your waistband equally so you're not skewing your center back. So like let's say I needed to sew, a couple darts in here, 2 1/4-inch darts would make this fit so much better, right? And then it will snug it up for you. Now I'm not gonna do that in this video, but I just wanted to show you that the first step is you want to get the waistband to fit nicely all the way around. And I'm going to turn my ditto form to the side here to show you. In this particular case, I can change my rise so it dips down a little bit at the center front and it's a little bit higher at the center back. Because if that's what's comfortable for the style pants I'm making, it does not have to be parallel to the floor. And in fact, some people have tilted waistlines where the front is significantly lower than the back or vice versa. So being able to set this waistband where it is comfortable and where you want your pants to sit before you start fitting the pants themselves is a huge advantage. Because now you can see what we can do here is I can actually take my pants muslin. I'm just going to stick it to the Velcro. So you can see I've got the Velcro right here. I'm sticking it on, and then in the back again. Notice in the back, I'm sticking the Velcro on the opposite vertical piece of Velcro. So the seam allowance is lining up with the center back of the waistband. And once it's stuck there, you can see I can leave it there. I don't have to worry about it slipping off until I'm ready to make adjustments. So once I've got my leg on, then because these two things are not connected, I can play with how they're fitting. And what I want to show you here, I'm going to back it up a little bit so you can see. If I were to pull up at my side seam area, you can see what's happening is I'm creating those diagonal wrinkles that were in the picture of the muslin that my subscriber sent me. So being able to say, all right, obviously if this is pulling from the side seam to the front crotch, I can lower it and I can smooth it out and I can make it hang properly so it looks nice, and I can also work on the back the same way. And if the back rise needs to be adjusted, I can lower that or raise that to get the inseam to hang straight. And the other thing that you can notice about this picture, let me show it to you again. Notice how the hem is puddling on the floor over her feet. That makes it very difficult to see what's happening with the drape of the fabric and if the inseam is hanging straight. So another tip here is make sure your fit muslin is shorter than your ankle, so you can allow the hem to hang without getting stuck on anything, and you can see if it's parallel to the floor. You can use that hem to notice if you need to make adjustments from the waist. So for example, if your hem is lower on the side and it's picking up on the inseam, that could mean that you need to raise the fabric at the side seam to pick it up. Or it could also mean that the center front and center back are pulled up too high. So if it's picking up along the inseam, try lowering the rise at center front and back. And again, you can do this independent of each other. So for example, I can pull up on my center front, lower my center back, or I can lower my center front and also lower my center back or raise my center back, whichever thing is going to help you get a nice smooth fit. Okay, so I can continue to adjust my front, back, and side until everything is hanging properly. And notice, because this edge, this waistline edge, is independent of this waistband, it allows me to lower it. And in fact, if you prep your pattern so that you're adding to the original waistline, that's going to give you extra to play with. And then you can really figure out, what is my front rise? What is my back rise? How is this all working together? And guess what? You don't have to measure or try to figure out how much of your rise or your crotch measurement is in the front versus in the back, because if you fit the pant muslin onto your waistband, the fabric is going to tell you. All right, so this particular muslin I'm working with is a final muslin that I use to fit my Japanese woven cotton shorts. So you can see I've cut everything off. I did make a mark in the back, noting where my waistline needed to go. But I've cut off all the extra seam allowance on the side. So I don't have as much extra on this fitting muslin as I would if I was just starting out with a new pattern. So I'm going to put a link in the description below to my tutorial showing how to add extra allowances along the waistline, side seam, and inseam after you've traced your pattern pieces that will help you see how to prepare your pattern so you can use it with your waistband to fit your pants. So really in this video, I just wanted to illustrate that it's very, very helpful to have a separate fitting waistband that you can then drape your fabric off of. So if your original pattern didn't have a long enough rise for you somewhere, front or back, you can work that out by adjusting your center front and center back up or down, and then also the side seam to get everything to hang nice and straight and not pull anywhere. If you have any questions about working with a separate non-stretch fitting waistband, please post those questions below and I will help you. And tomorrow, join me for subscriber Q&A live. I will have another fun topic that I'm going to share. So bring your questions too, because you never know, I could answer it right on the spot. Last week we had a lively subscriber Q&A about how to do a full bust adjustment, and in the end I showed small bust adjustment as well, because someone watching jokingly added in the chat that she was waiting for the small bust adjustment while I was showing the full bust adjustment. So I ended up showing both, plus how to contour your neckline. So really, coming to these subscriber Q&As is a lot of fun, and if you have a burning question, I can answer it for you on the spot if it fits into the scheme of things. Or I could feature it on another episode. So I hope to see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time. And then on Friday, we will be meeting again for FabFit Friday. I'll be starting a brand new project or working on something. You'll have to wait and see. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.